All right, I'd like to welcome everyone here this evening. There are a few seats up here and scattered around. If you are in the back and need a seat, you can fill in. If we do end up needing more chairs, there are some we can go grab from the check-in table that we had over there. Feel free to grab one of those. And then there's also a closet going into the auditorium that he told me has about 20 more chairs in case we needed them. So we can also have people pitch in and help grab those. So thank you all for coming. It's great to have such a great turnout tonight. I'm Lindsay Madison. I'm the president and CEO of our Fort Scott Area Chamber of Commerce. And like I said, it's my pleasure to join you here this evening. We love hosting these forums every time an election comes around so that the community, both those in present and those joining us on Facebook Live, are able to learn more about the candidates that are going to be serving us, which tonight happens to be through USD 234 School Board, Fort Scott Community College Board of Trustees, the City of Fort Scott Commission, and the Bourbon County Commission. So thank you to all of you for attending, and thank you to all of our candidates that are here tonight to participate. At this time, if you would go ahead and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We will now have an invocation by Gary Palmer.
Heavenly Father, we thank you that we live in a country where we can be free to have choice. We thank you for our county, Bourbon County. We thank you for our city and our school boards. We thank you for public service, for those that are willing to put themselves, lay down themselves for the better sake of others. Lord, we thank you for the foundation of our country that gives us this republic and our ability to make choices in who represents us. Lord, we love you. We thank you that we can serve you in this way, and we hope that we glorify you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Gary. If you didn't happen to get a copy of the agenda and list of candidates when you walked in, I'm sure there are plenty more back there if you would like to grab one, or we can grab them and pass them around to you, so feel free to grab one of those. I'd like to introduce our volunteers and board members this evening. So first of all, I have Leslie Godden here, who's our communication and events coordinator with the Chamber. Appreciate her help. And then we have our board members, who are our board chairman for this year, Colleen Quick with LabComco. And we have Sandra Davis, who's our treasurer of the Chamber Board with Davis Tax and Accounting. And Diane Striler was here with Front Door Real Estate, who is actually our chair-elect for next year, and she had to leave for another obligation. And then Carissa Bowman was going to be helping us this evening, but she may be joining us later. So those are our volunteers, and we always appreciate having people pitch in to volunteer. So at this time, we'd like to call up our county clerk, Susan Walker. There was also a handout when you came in that kind of had a summary of the voting dates and times that voting will be open and whatnot. So I'm going to turn that over to her.
Thank you, Lindsay. I found out today that I was speaking, so this was kind of last minute. But I want to tell everybody thank you for their public service. These sometimes are thankless jobs. And so just getting out and running for an office is very important for the future of our community. So we have advanced voting that started this week. We will go Monday through Friday from 8:30 to 4:30. And then next week we will do the same way, 8:30 to 4:30, and you can vote at the courthouse. On Saturdays, on 10/25 and on November 1st, we will be open from 8 to noon. We haven't had a very good turnout. I think we've had about 30 each day. So, you know, I know we've made a lot of changes this year. We had redistricting, which changed our district lines, our precincts changed, our polling places changed. So we had to send out a mass mailing with registration cards. And so we also shut down 2 locations, Redfield and Bronson. And I know that's not popular, but we're trying to save costs where we can. When you come to vote, be sure you bring some kind of a photo ID. That is required when you come to vote. On election day, on 11/4, you'll vote at your regular polling place. Monday before, on November 3rd, you can vote at the courthouse until noon. And so if anybody has any questions about where their polling place is, please call our office. It's at 223-3800, extension 100. I also want to let everybody know, something that's been a question is, how do I see the maps, the new maps? We had to wait to get that information done from our GIS company, SAM, but it's now on the Bourbon County website, our bourboncountyks.org. If you search for Bourbon County election maps, it'll show you new precinct maps by Fort Scott and also by the commission districts. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. They're so large that it's hard to get a big map, but you can at least zoom in on these. So if you have any questions, please let us know. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Susan. And the number is on there, 38223-3800, extension 100, if you need to call and ask any questions about the dates or where you vote. And at this time, there's also going to be a 1/2-cent sales tax vote on the ballot. And we have City Manager Brad Matkin here to make some remarks about that.
Good evening. Thank you for taking the time tonight to be here. I'll echo what Susan said. Thank you so much for everybody that is running, everybody that's in office. Speaking from experience, it can be a thankless job, but you guys do it for a reason, and that's the love of this city and this county, and we appreciate that, because without you, a lot of decisions would not be made. So thank you very much. I do want to talk briefly about something that directly impacts the quality of life in our community, and that's our 1/2-cent sales tax. But first, I want to give you a definition. It's something that I say a lot, and probably enough where my staff gets kind of testy with me. It's progress. Progress, by dictionary, is the process of gradually improving or getting near to achieving or completing something. That's helped by our 1/2-cent sales tax. On November of 2025 ballot, the 1/2-cent sales tax question asked voters to make the existing 1/2-cent sales tax, which has been in play for the last 4.5 years, to split the fund 80% streets, 10% parks, community buildings, and 10% public safety. Currently, the sales tax pays 90% to the streets and 10% to parks and community buildings. When we talk about a 1/2 cent, it can sound small, but what it represents is a big investment. An investment in our streets, our infrastructure, our safety, and our future. Every time someone shops here in town, whether it's a resident or someone just passing through, a portion of that purchase, just 1/2 of 1 cent on the dollar, goes back into improving our community. It has helped us maintain roads, even though there's some arguments about that, and I agree with that. Upgrade equipment, support public safety, and invest in projects that make Fort Scott a better place to live, work, and visit. This sales tax is one of the most fair ways to fund local improvements. It's not just on the shoulders of property owners. It's shared by everyone who spends money here in Fort Scott, including visitors and tourists. That means our local economy supports our local progress. Over the past few years, we've seen what this funding can do. from street projects, equipment, sidewalks, and park upgrades. These aren't just nice to have things. They're things that keep our community running safely and efficiently every day. The continuation of this tax isn't about adding something new. It's about maintaining the standard our citizens expect and deserve. Without it, we would face tough decisions. Would we die? Would our town just shut the doors? No. But it would be tough decisions. Fewer repairs, delayed projects, and reduced services. When you cast your vote, I ask that you think about the roads you drive on, the parks your children play in, and the firefighters and police officers who protect our homes. That half cent makes all of that possible with our improvements. Please do not let Facebook be the voice that decides how you vote. If you have questions, please email me at bmatkin, pretty easy, bmatkin@fscity.org, and I will take the time to schedule one-on-ones with you to explain what this sales tax does for our community. It is that important to me, that important to my staff, and if you think about it, it's that important to our city and county. No matter how you vote, please understand your voice is important. Get out, vote, and make our city better. Together, we can keep building a stronger, safer, and more vibrant community. Not just for us today, and please remember that. Not just for us today. I'm 55. Hopefully I've got more years left, but it's not just for me. But it's for the generations who will call this place home tomorrow. Again, progress is the process of gradually improving or getting near to achieving or completing something. Let's complete something together. Thank you.
Thank you, Brad. I know the city's been doing a great job of getting out there and being available with information. Will you be back at Farmers Market this Saturday, do you think?
Can
Maybe.
we get 2 people to come talk to us this time? We had one last week, so.
Well, and it's
We'll
also
try.
the last day of Farmers Market, so
We'll try.
that gives you a reason to go talk to
Yeah,
the
we'll
city
try.
about sales tax.
Come by, please.
If not, you can catch Brad in costume Saturday night
Yes.
at the Almost Kiss concert down at Gathering Square, which
Yes,
is from
please come to
free
that.
from 9 to 10:30. So, thank you, Brad.
Thank you.
All right, we're here for what you all are here for, which is our candidate forum. And we'd like to thank Gary Palmer for being our moderator this evening. The forum's gonna go in the order of USD 234, Fort Scott Community College, City of Fort Scott, and Bourbon County. The list of candidates are on the back. I know there were there's always a lot going on in our community. Visit the community calendar on our website, FortScott.com, if you don't know, but there are several things going on this evening as well. So there were a number of candidates not able to join us. Those are noted on the back. And again, we thank you all that are able to, and several have sent a statement. But I'll go ahead and turn it over to Gary, and he's going to take it from here.
Good evening and welcome. Thank you all for being here. What a testimony of our community in itself, in your presence, and being in participation in this process. So I'm a firm believer that a community is the sum of its parts, and the fact that we have lots of fantastic parts of which are here tonight to participate and contribute and learn and listen speaks volumes in just how valuable our community and our country and our county is. So thank you for being here. Just some quick rules for what's going to happen tonight. Lindsay went over that we have candidates from USD 234. One is present. Fort Scott Community College Board of Trustees, of whom 2 are present. City of Fort Scott Commission, we have 4 present. And the Bourbon County Commission race, we have 2 present. The format for tonight, the USD 234 candidates or candidate will give a 3-minute statement, including an introduction, why they're running, and why a good fit for the position. Questions may or may not be asked of these candidates. but I'm going to ask you some questions, Phil. And we have some statements from those that, some of those that aren't present. The format for Fort Scott Community College, the city, and the county candidates will be as following. They're going to deliver a 1-minute opening statement, and we're going to answer 3 random questions that were submitted by the public and or the event committee prior to the forum. Candidates will have up to 2 minutes to respond to each question, and you can also deliver a 2-minute closing statement. I, as the moderator, haven't decided if we're all going to answer the same question or if we're going to all answer different questions. And quite honestly, it depends on the variety of your answer. We want to try to get as much information as we can from you candidates, and we've seen formats work well when it's the same question so that you can see what each candidate has to say about that issue. And we've also seen that not work so well because one candidate agrees with another and not much is said. So my job as moderator is to make sure that you learn as voters as much as you can about the candidates that are here. So without any further ado, we're going to start with USD 234, and we'll let Phil Jackson start with his opening statement. Yes, please.
I'll have little signs for you so you know.
Good evening. Thank you for coming tonight. Appreciate the introduction, Gary. My name is Phil Jackson. I'm currently on the school board and I'm running. There was a vacancy and I was voted in by the current board as a new member, and I'm running again. Really, the reason I'm running is school meant a lot to me. I have fond memories of school. I have a couple kids in the district currently, and I don't hear a lot about kids liking school as much anymore as what I did. So I wanted to, answer the call, when things were going on and things were happening. Of course, everybody wants to have something to say, whether it be behind a keyboard or on Facebook or whatever the case may be. But when it's time to answer the call, I'm a doer, not a sayer. So really, that's all the introduction I had. So if anybody has any questions, I'll open up to the questions. I guess I'll answer them all since I'm the only one here tonight.
Okay, so Phil, how can USD 234 promote respect and inclusion for all students while maintaining community values and transparency with parents?
I think that you have to have an open mind. Just because you don't agree with something that somebody agrees with or believes in doesn't mean that that's the wrong thing. So in a lot of our meetings that I sit in, even today, I feel like a good communicator is somebody who is open to doing things different. And just because you've been doing something the same way for 50 years doesn't necessarily mean it's the right thing to do or the way to do it. So I feel like keeping an open mind, being a good listener. God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth. So that's what I like to live behind. So
great. Do you believe that USD 234 should focus more on academics or trades over social topics? If so, how would you help redirect focus back to core learning?
Ooh, that's a toughie. I feel like everything's important. I don't feel like academics are trump everything. I don't feel like sports trump everything. I think a good mix, because there's things that are taught outside the classroom as well that are just as important as things that are taught in it. I do believe that curriculum does matter. We've made some changes and things are going in the right direction. So yeah, I mean, a combination of both things is going to make the biggest mark, I feel.
Thank you, Phil.
Is that it?
That's it.
I always wondered what it was like to win a Grammy. I guess I got my chance tonight. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
There are 2 candidates that gave official statements. And so they've asked me to read those. So this first statement is from David Stewart. From David. Good evening. I'm sorry I cannot be in attendance tonight as I had a prior engagement. I'm seeking re-election to the school board because I believe continuity and experienced leadership are essential during times of transition. With our current superintendent retiring, our district needs firm guidance to ensure a smooth and successful transition process. I bring valuable experience to the board, and I'm committed to helping our team make informed decisions that prioritize students, staff, and long-term success of our schools. My goal is to continue serving our community with transparency, accountability, focus on progress. Thank you, David Stewart. Another statement from a candidate that was unable to be here tonight, from Nick Barrows, candidate for USD 234. My name is Nick Barrows. I'm honored to announce my candidacy for the USD 234 school board. My wife, Kelly, and I are proud graduates of the USD 234 school district, having attended from kindergarten through 12th grade. Next year, both of our daughters will also be students in this district, continuing a tradition that means a great deal to our family. I'm running because I want to be a part of a positive change. The board elected this November will carry an important responsibility of hiring the next superintendent for USD 234, a decision that will shape the future of our schools for years to come. This choice impacts everyone connected to the district, our students, parents, teachers, staff, and administrators. The learning environment we create for our children starts with the leadership we choose. My goal is to ensure we hire the best candidate for the job, not simply the most convenient one. Our district deserves thoughtful leadership that will strengthen our schools and support every student's success. That statement was from Nick Barrows. The other candidates that, hello, there we go. The other candidates that are running for USD School Board are Rory Chaplin, Robert Harrington, and Mike Miles. Okay, next up, we're going to have the forum for Fort Scott Community College Board of Trustees. We have two present, and they are Destry Brown and Vince Lafrodo.
I have a question before I go on. Which one of the school board members are currently, besides Mr. Jackson, is currently on the board? Who else? David Stewart. Rory Chaplin. Okay, thanks. Go ahead, all right. Fall. I said on the end, maybe make it out easier. How's that boy doing? I miss him.
So let's start with opening statements. And we do want those to be from the podium because we're on Facebook Live. So, Vince, you want to go first?
I don't remember drawing straws, but first of all, my name is Vince Lafredo, and I just want to start with saying it's an honor to be up here with Destry Brown. Some of you may or may not know that my son went to school here. I did not grow up here. I did not live here for a long time, but I always say I got here as fast as I could. But Destry's a great man, and I really appreciate the fact that he's putting himself out here to do this. I've got a tremendous amount of respect for him, so Destry, I'm glad you're up here. Thank you. Vince Lafredo. I currently am the Chief Learning Officer for the American Society of Anesthesiologists. That's just continuing medical education. Doug Rob knows what I'm talking about over there. It's a CRNA. Previously, my work has been in the Vice Chancellor of the University of Kansas Medical Center. Prior to that, the Vice President for Student Services at the University of Texas Medical Branch. Prior to that, I started a community college in Texas, North Harris Montgomery Community College. and also started a for-profit university in Texas. So my background is in higher education. It is in adult learning. I bless those people who do work with secondary education because I just never could do that. So that's my background.
Thank you. If you want to have a seat, we'll have Destry come up.
Well, good evening. 60 seconds doesn't take long. Is that right, Colleen?
Yeah, minute goes by.
All right. Well, I'm Destry Brown. I was born and raised in Bourbon County. Grew up, I went to school, my first 4 or 5 years of school in Fulton, Kansas. Many of you know where that is. They used to have a school there that was open. Anyway, mom and dad still live here. They have one of the oldest businesses down on Main Street. I'm a graduate of Fort Scott High School in 1980. I came to Fort Scott Community College, and I was here till 1982. I received my associate's degree. Went on to Pitt State. I graduated there in 1984, and then I went on to get my master's degree in administration. I've been an educator for 42 years. I know I don't look that old, but I have been in schools for 42 years. The last 4 years, I've been the superintendent of schools here in Fort Scott. I plan to retire at the end of this year in June. And, I decided to run for community college board because I want to continue to make a difference for kids. And this gives me an opportunity to hopefully do that. So thank you.
Thank you, Destry. At this time, I think we have a statement from one of the candidates that's not in attendance. Candidate Chad Cousins could not be here tonight, but he has a prepared statement to be given by Jared Martin.
Good evening. I am Jared Martin, not Chad Cousins, for the record. Thank you. I've spent 18 years in public education, so I'm happy to be able to read this tonight for my friend Chad. Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to address you tonight. Due to having a prior engagement that was scheduled several months in advance, I was unable to attend tonight's community forum. My family ties to Fort Scott Community College run deep. I'm a 1997 graduate. My wife JC attended in 96 and 97, later returning and graduating from FSCC Nursing School in 2010. Our son Dryden graduated in 2025, and our son Cal is a current student. FSCC has had a meaningful impact on my family, but its influence on our community reaches even further. It is a vital economic driver for our community, and we cannot afford to lose it. The past 18 months, our board has made tough, critical decisions to keep FSCC sustainable, and our new administration has perspective is one that I seek out regularly as I encounter challenges. He's level-headed and incredibly bright. When he said that he was running for this position, I was encouraged to think that his voice could be part of a challenging process that this board will engage in the weeks and the months ahead. As a lifelong member of this community, I have engaged in conversations, more conversations than I can count, regarding leadership about this community and the surrounding issues. Inevitably, the conversation circles around to some variation of why our best and brightest don't put their money where their mouths are when it comes to getting involved, save you all in this room. Chad Cousins is doing just that. He's willing to step in the arena, and he has my full endorsement and my vote. I encourage you to do the same.
Thank you, Jared. Thank you, Chad, for that prepared statement. We have other candidates that are running for that position for Fort Scott Community College Board of Trustees. That includes Joshua Beasley, Marilyn Hoyt, and then we're going to ask some questions of the two of you here today. So, Destry, we'll start with you. When it comes to funding and control of our community college, which do you believe serves citizens better? Keeping local control, even if it means higher property taxes, or shifting more control to the state in exchange for lower local taxes? Why do you believe that's the better long-term approach, whichever you choose, on behalf of Fort Scott and Bourbon County?
Well, you started me off with a tough question, my goodness. But I'm going to start by saying I think that those counties that have community colleges have been, they've really been saddled with high taxes because of that. You go north, just one county north, or go south one county, and your tax base is totally different, and your tax levies. I don't want to give up local control. I believe that we should be able to make decisions for our community and for our kids here in this community. But at the same time, we're also supposed to be serving Lynn and Miami County, and I think they should have some skin in the game. And right now they don't. And our board can't make that decision. That has to come from Topeka, so that would mean we'd have to give up some control, I expect. But I'm just saying it is tough when you're having to carry the entire load, and you're also expected to provide those education services in Lynn, Miami, and Crawford County. So I think there's a way that they could make that much more equitable. They've done it in public education. They did it back in the 90s in public education, and they made everybody pay a certain mill levy. Everybody had to pay the 20 mills. I think that's the way it should be. If community college is an important part of our state, and I believe it is, they provide money for the CTE programs, the career and tech ed programs, then by golly, everybody ought to have to pay for part of that, if that's important to us. And I think as Kansans, I hear that all over the state. So there you go.
Great job. Vince, if you want to come to the podium, I'm going to pose the same question. I'll repeat it while you move. So when it comes to funding and control for our community college, which do you believe serves citizens better? Keeping local control, even if it means higher property taxes, or shifting more control to the state in exchange for lower taxes? Why do you believe what you believe, and what's the better long-term approach for both Fort Scott and Bourbon County?
Destry brought up a lot of the great points that I was going to consider talking about. The thing I think you have to remember is that you want control to be local. It's a community college, and the community's in the name of that for a reason. But that comes at a cost. It comes at a cost that we have to think about. There has to be a balance when it comes to how schools are funded. The state has to be part of that equation. And we have to make sure that when we are looking at funding, those that are benefiting from what we do are contributing to what we do. The point that Miami County is part of this and not contributing is a big part of it. It's something Chad and I were talking about yesterday, in that we have a facility up there that is being used and the people using it are not contributing. And that's not right. And there are things also that I think that the state needs to make other decisions about. Community colleges usually base a lot of vocational education in the community, yet we've passed some of that education on to the four-year institutions. You go right down the street in Pittsburgh, which is a four-year institution, has a lot of the programs that belong here. So I think there is a conversation that this board needs to have to support this community and the decisions that this community is making to better our students, to better the population that we have here. And I believe it's vital for those that sit in these positions to support the president and to back him in Topeka to make sure that we are fighting for our community and making sure that we keep those essential functions here. Control, funding has to be part of that. And it can't be on the backs of the local folks. The state is part of this community as well. So there is a happy balance to that.
Thank you. Vince, I'm going to let you stay up there.
You gotta watch it. I know. Yeah, he's a tricky guy.
Okay, so it's and enrollment challenges. Why do you think that your candidacy and therefore your seat on the board will help both FSCC and our community prosper through these challenges?
Well, let me just start with the challenges that we're facing. And the challenges are not unique to Fort Scott. Across this country, we are seeing rural populations struggle with both healthcare and education. And it goes back a little bit to what I was talking about earlier about the state being part of that solution. I have been part of this problem in the past. And the one thing that I can help with here in Fort Scott is solving some of that solution with programming, the type of programming that attracts students, the type of community involvement to help make those right decisions are going to be a big part of that. We have to listen to not just ourselves and what we're thinking. Because too many times you get on a board like this, you say, I think this, I think that, without listening to, first, the people it's going to impact, the students, and second, the community. So a big part of that is bringing the knowledge that I've had in the past of running major institutions of higher education and being part of the community and part of the solutions to that community. I believe that this board has a fiduciary responsibility to this community and making sure that we provide the best education. Times are changing. Education is evolving. And if you're not on top of it, if you're not evolving with the way education and how people learn, you are going to be behind. We've got to get in front of this. One of the things that I like to do is I like to not just be an also-ran, I like to be the leader in education. I've done that everywhere I've been. And we could do that here. We have tremendous resources here, people, students, all of that to make that successful. And I firmly believe that in this position, I can be a positive impact to this community, bringing what I've done over decades to the Fort Scott community.
Thank you, Vince. Okay, Destry, you're up. So we know that Fort Scott Community College has faced some very significant challenges lately in funding and enrollment, and maybe more. Why do you think that your candidacy and the seat that you would earn by winning the votes tonight would help Fort Scott Community College and our community?
Well, first, I would just say that the 6 board members have done a great job. They've had to make tough decisions, and they've done a great job of helping get things back to where we're pretty stable again, thanks to a lot of tough decisions that they had to make. I think we're getting to the place where we're going to be able to start looking at what are some areas that we need, some holes that we see, some differences, some things that would set us apart and make us unique in Southeast Kansas. We can't just go out and try to replicate the same thing Allen County has or Neosho County. We have to do something that's going to be unique and make us unique in this area so that we have a better chance of competing for students. Students is where we're able to gain that money for the budget to be able to pay for things. We're going to have to look at some low impact activities possibly that aren't going to cost a lot in the budget, but are going to bring kids that maybe and I'll just say soccer or wrestling, those are not in every community college around here. Those things are not, but they would bring kids in for our community college. I think we have to look at some of our career and technical ed programs. I know Fort Scott in Bourbon County has more manufacturing positions per capita than any other place in Kansas. We have no manufacturing type of programs in Fort Scott Community College. We need to take advantage of that. Nobody else has that program either in Southeast Kansas or I don't know that there's any others in the state of Kansas. So we could exploit that strength, I believe, and bring more kids and also partner more with our
our industry here in town so that our kids can get out there and get experience. And I think it would bring people and companies into our community. So, thank you.
Great. Don't go too far.
I'm sorry, I forgot. It's that take turns thing.
Right.
I've always had trouble with that.
There's a lot of hot topics in every community, and ours is no different.
Really?
Really.
I hadn't noticed that.
So in doing so, what would be one unpopular decision that you would be willing to make a change for the better, in your opinion, for Fort Scott Community College? And how best would you promote unity in that decision-making process?
An unpopular decision that I would be willing to make.
That promotes unity.
I don't even know where to start on that, honestly. An unpopular decision. I usually try not to go there if I can keep from it. I believe in the problem-solving model of getting out in front of those things and getting input and things like that from our community and our staff and before we make those kind of decisions, so that wouldn't, no matter what that decision is, it wouldn't be just me making that decision or just 6 people on the board making that decision. I honestly can't even think of something that I would want to do away with or whatever at the community college, because
Decision making. I know that in this role, I can do what I've done for years for others to bring it here to be successful, help us be successful, being part of a team into success in the future. One last thing, get out and vote. It's the most important thing you can do.
Thank you, Vince. Thank you, Destry. We very much appreciate you being here. As a reminder, there are 5 candidates running for Fort Scott Community College Board of Trustees. Those candidates are Joshua Beasley, Destry Brown, which we heard from tonight, Chad Cousins, who had the statement here tonight, Marilyn Hoyt, and Vince Lafredo. There are 5 candidates running for 3 open positions. So of the 5 candidates, 3 shall be elected. Okay. Next up, we're going to have the City of Fort Scott City Commission. There are 5 candidates running for 3 open positions. Your candidates running for Fort Scott City Commission are Julie Bukta, Tim Van Hookey, Garrett Knight, Dylan Olson, and Catherine Salisbury. If you want to make your way up here, do we have enough? So 4 are in attendance. Garrett Knight was not able to attend tonight, and unless there's someone here to speak on his behalf, we do not have a statement from Garrett tonight. So we'll move forward with introductions. We have a 1-minute opening statement from each of you, and let's just go down the table. So Tim, you want to get started? Everyone should speak from the podium.
Thank you. Wow. It was 4 years ago when I was walking around town passing these out, trying to get your support and vote. And I want to thank the citizens of Fort Scott for trusting me as their commissioner these past 4 years. Not much has changed on that card personally for me, other than I've got 2 additional grandkids now. I really love all the businesses in this town too. I heavily support, respect, and thank all Fort Scott businesses, the volunteers, and people that invest in our town. I didn't come in here with any personal agenda or allegiances, and I never will. In my life, I was in the military for several years, and I've also worked for some very large corporations over the years. And one thing I've learned, and what I'm seeing now with our city staff and where we're going, is that y'all need to have a common goal to succeed. And in order to make that happen, you have to work together and you have to care whatever it takes to get it done without caring who gets the credit. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Next up, we have Dylan Olson.
Is it all right if we move this table?
I was just gonna
Yes.
say, let's move the table out.
Thank you.
My name is Dylan Olson. I'm a sitting commissioner like a few of us here. Like 2 years ago, same as I said, I was born and raised here. I grew up here and in Lenexa, Kansas. 4 of my children go to our public schools here from preschool to 3rd grade. Just a few of the things that I did get tackled during my current time was early on I authored an ordinance for the farmers market. There was a lot of back and forth over the years of where they should go, and I helped pass that. Early on I worked to tackle the city advisory boards. We have a lot of those, and there's often too many. We're all a community, but there's a role for city residents to play there. I felt economic development was one of our biggest issues in the city, and I advocated for change in that area, and we did change it, and that falls under our city manager's leadership now. Thank you.
Thank you, Dylan. Next up, we have Julie Gupta.
Hi, good evening. My name is Julie Gupta. Most of you would know me as Julie Stark, and that was my maiden name. Many of you of the older generation might remember my great uncle John Stark, who was the shop teacher here his whole entire career. I am a hometown girl. I graduated from Uniontown High School, and I went to the JUCO here and achieved my Associates of Science. I am running because we moved back 3 years ago to be with family. I lived here in my 20s. I worked at MedPlans 2000 and also at WordCraft for many years, and then I went away. Came back 3 years ago to be with family, and I am here to fight for the next generation. I'm new to politics, so I don't know all the details of how we're going to get everything done, but I want to fight for my city. I want to fight for the next generation, for my nieces and nephews, my great nieces, my great nephews, my second cousins, all of them that live here that are dependent on this community for their future. And that is why I'm running.
Julie. Okay, next up, our final candidate tonight is Catherine Salisbury.
Hi, thank you for coming. So my name is Catherine Salisbury. I am currently on the City Commission. I was selected by the commission when there was a vacancy, so this is my first time running. This has been an honor. I would love to be able to continue the work that I have been doing with the commission. For those of you who are unfamiliar with me, my family has been in the area since the 1950s. Floyd's Donuts, that was my grandparents, for those of you who might remember that. I have raised 4 boys here in this town. I am a product of this education system, as are they. I went away to Washburn and got a law degree. I now work in risk management, and I have a finance background. I try to help the city from that perspective. I'm not sure they always feel like that's helpful, but and I just really hope that you give me the opportunity to continue this work. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Catherine. Okay, so let's start here, and we'll just. Catherine, you want to go first?
Not at all.
Okay, so do you believe that the city should focus first on basic infrastructure like streets, utilities, and safety, or on growth and beautification projects?
Well, ideally those would go hand in hand.
I'm not so much of the beautification, but the growth, if you're talking economic, that's going to have to help with the infrastructure. If we can grow our community, if we can grow the jobs, then that's a bigger tax base to help us with our infrastructure issues. But if you really have to pick, I think it's the point where we have had a lot of time over the years where we have not taken care of our infrastructure, we haven't taken care of our buildings. Those have to be maintained. We have to do some catch up, or those are going to fall away from us. I know that that means spending something now, but that's also that stitch in time saves nine kind of thing. If we can fix it now, a repair now is better than a collapse later. But as far as growth, I know that the city is working very hard to get more employers, that sort of thing. I think that we need to have a two-pronged approach, try to get those large employers, but also partner for workforce development with the college and other areas, and to maybe try to recruit people to come here and remote work. We have that 8 gigabyte internet. That's actually pretty astounding. A lot of communities don't have that, even in larger metropolitan areas. So we have an opportunity to bring in some growth from people that work out of town, or help our current people obtain those remote jobs. So I know that's probably not exactly what you asked, but I think I would pick a piece of both, if that makes sense. But if you had to pick one, I would guess it would be infrastructure, so it doesn't fall out from under us.
Great, thank you. I'm going to start hopscotch. So Dylan?
I'll repeat the question. Do you believe the city should focus first on basic infrastructures like streets, utilities, and safety, or on economic growth and beautification projects?
I think they both have to go hand in hand. I don't think you're going to be able to afford to replace a street or a water line unless you're also growing. To grow, you have to invest in beautification. You have to promote small business growth. You have to promote people to want to fix up their neighborhoods. Recently, the commission did that with the small business program, which gives grants to small businesses, which is a step. I think we could go further and promote those who actually do repair these houses that are on the verge of being on a demolition list. When it comes to streets, our city manager talked tonight on a big part of that. If we don't have that, it'll be very hard to fix streets, let alone worry about our water system. So they're kind of hand in hand, in my opinion, that you have to do all the above. You can't say one thing or the other. Thank you.
Thank you, Dylan. Tim, I'm going to have you come up next. For this round of questioning, we're going to stick with the same question. Do you believe the city should focus on basic infrastructure like streets, utilities, and safety? Or should our focus be primarily economic growth and beautification projects?
Well, when I was first running, kind of having a fresh set of eyes on the town, I think the problem was that we were so enthralled with the streets that other items were going to the wayside. We have the talent here and the capabilities, especially now, that we can actually walk and chew gum at the same time. The infrastructure and the streets are extremely important. The quality of life is as well. And absolutely public safety is. In my opinion, as a city commissioner or as a city manager, public safety should be our #1 priority for our people. And a lot of times dilapidated infrastructure can actually have an effect on public safety as well. Beautification, look around. There is a ton of great things that have been done. Since my time on, and again, a lot of this is volunteers, we made some approvals. We've got a pavilion. We've got a splash pad. We've got an independent baseball team coming in here. A really good compliment that we heard after the all-class reunion this year were people that have not had their eyes on Fort Scott for a little while came to town and were complimenting on how amazed they were on how streets were improving, how downtown looked. Look at downtown right now. Other than a building we've got a problem with on Main Street and one around the corner, most of these businesses are either full now, where they weren't before, or they're in process of being redone to be filled. So, yeah, I think all the items that are on the ballot are extremely important, and that is infrastructure, beautification, public safety, beautification by many parks. Let's continue to walk and chew gum at the same time in a coordinated effort. And I think the decisions made by the city commission, myself, and the city manager and staff, and changes have been made, have allowed us not to just say streets, streets, streets. Streets are getting done. If you're not looking at Facebook right now and seeing some of the asphalting being done with the new equipment purchased and roads completed and grants won, please do, because we are doing both at the same time. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Okay, Julie. Same question to you. Do you believe the city should focus first on basic infrastructure like streets, utilities, and safety, or on economic growth and beautification?
I will also echo some of what's already been said. I don't think you can have one without the other, because you can beautify all day long, but if your infrastructure is crumbling, then there's nothing to support the beauty. So I do think they have to work hand in hand. I've been meeting with our city manager recently multiple times. He's explained a lot about the road plan that he has, a 9-year street plan, and he has increased the staff for the road infrastructure from, like, I don't know, 3 or 4, maybe 5 to like 16. We've purchased the equipment to be able to do all that ourselves and not outsource it. So there's a lot that we can do now that we haven't been able to do before. And I'm personally really excited about that. And being able to save money there will allow us to do the beautification we need to make our home even more and more attractive, so that we can use the sales tax to get more dollars in from outside instead of just inside our community, to support our community, not just with our own residents, but from everywhere outside. When I talk to the business owners up on Main Street, they all say, a lot of our Fort Scott people don't take advantage of us down here. You know, a lot of our businesses from out of town, and when they come into Fort Scott, they talk about how amazing it is that we have this amazing downtown and all this cool stuff going on. We don't have that in our town. That's what they hear all the time. And I, for one, am really proud of that. And I want to continue growing that. If we don't support our businesses, if we don't support our streets, if we don't support our infrastructure that we already have here, we're not going to be able to get the new businesses in. Thank the Lord, we finally got the ER and the 10-bed hospital going. That was wonderful, because no larger business is going to look at Fort Scott as a viable town for their large business unless we have the ER, unless we've got street improvements going on. We can't get them in without those things. So we've got to keep moving forward.
Great. Julie, don't go far. Okay, we're going to switch the format up just a little bit. Since there's 4 candidates, we don't want to have a lot of redundancy all night long, so we're going to give individual questions, okay? And Julie, as the only candidate up here that's not an incumbent, we have a question from the audience tonight that says, if you did not agree with the current city commission, the other commissioners on the board, do you feel like you're strong enough to advocate for your own opinion and unity instead of just going along with others?
So my question is, do you know the difference between a peacemaker and a peacekeeper? Because a peacekeeper will always just keep the peace. Let's just keep everybody happy. I've always, for many, many years, said, yeah, I'm a wonderful person. I'm really kind. I'm so gracious. And I try to always be respectful to others. But I am a peacemaker. And a peacemaker, you have to take action to do that. And even though I absolutely do not enjoy conflict, I am the first one who will step up and say, this has to be taken care of. We have to hit it head on and make no bones about it. I spent about 10 years overseas. 3 of that was in the Middle East. I was the only female in a group of 18 military contractors that were all former military, but then in a contracting role. If you don't think you have to be strong when you're facing 18 grown men and you have to tell them what to do, then you wouldn't be able to do the job for very long. So, and my family's always told me, Julie, you have to be less strong. You can't just buck everybody. I'm like, okay. So it is my nature. I'm a wonderful, kind person, but I will stand up for what is right, no matter what. No matter whether it's on Facebook, no matter if it is man or woman who is coming against me. I will stand up for what I believe is right, make no bones about it.
Thank you, Julie. Okay, Dylan, come up. I have a question for you. Dylan, how would you ensure taxpayer money is spent efficiently and not wasted on duplicate or low priority projects?
Generally, that's not a one-man decision on what's a duplicate or low priority project, but I am a big advocate of keeping property taxes as low as they can. I've advocated that for 2 years with maintaining revenue neutral, and we managed to do that this year. But ideally, if I have a say, I mean, which I do currently, but you ideally want a list and you want to go through and say, well, this project has a little bit more emphasis on this one. You know, if you're looking at a road, does this road need quicker repair than this one? If you're looking at a water line, which we just did a major project for the past 2 months, there was a leak in that same area about 4 or 5 times. Do you just keep patching the leak, or do you replace the whole line? They replaced the whole line. But at the end of the day, you can't do that for the whole city or we'd be broke. But it's those kind of things that come up where it's better to do the project right and not keep having the issue than just keep band-aiding it and band-aiding it, and you're still doing the same thing month in and month out. So, thank you.
Thank you, Dylan. Catherine? Catherine, my question for you is, if a major employer or business wanted to come to Fort Scott but requested a tax break, how would you evaluate that deal?
Well, not independently. I think that I would look over historically, what benefit have we gotten from those large employers that have gotten those tax breaks? What are other communities doing? Because we're obviously competing with them. And we'd also, I'd want to see if that what they would receive in a tax break is going to actually benefit us. Are we going to be able to make up that difference? Because if we're getting a big enough tax break that it doesn't end up helping the city, there's really no point in that. I think that we should also try to come up with some creative things besides just tax breaks to help large employers. And as I said earlier, I know it's not really your question, but I do think those large employers are important, but we should also be doing things to help the solo entrepreneurs or the people that locally are doing like 10 and 20 employers as well. Because those big employers are great, but they're harder to land, and we can build our stability through these other employers who are maybe not as large. So that's right. I think it's a big case-by-case analysis about whether that tax break is going to actually benefit us or not, and I would do a great deal of research on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. All right, Tim, you'll come up. I have a question for you. Along similar lines, what role do you believe public-private partnerships should play in city development, and where should the line be drawn?
Well, I think that our country is now being built on a lot of private government partnerships that are out there. As other candidates have mentioned, we need growth in our city. We need to attract new businesses in place. I don't think you need to give away the farm to do that, but you need to realize, what your needs are, what that organization's needs are, and what either ethically or financially makes sense for that partnership for growth. We do get approached at times at the city commission meeting where people are asking for commitments of money, of land, of different items, for what they want to do. Unfortunately, it always seems like when they come in, It's an urgent request, and they've got to have an answer on it right now. We need to do a better job. I think we do a very adequate job, but there's always room to do a better job of vetting what those are and how important is that private investment or equity investment or whatever investment that someone's trying to bring into our town. I know also that we go out, for instance, we have 2 large facilities right now that we would like to fill with employers. So we are also going out and gainfully seeking someone to occupy those spaces and bring those jobs back to Fort Scott. One area that I think we should be encouraged to look even more, and where we seriously lack, is in housing right now. We have a new hospital. Even if we brought a big manufacturer in here right now, a lot of their employees are going to have to commute to and from Fort Scott because we don't have adequate housing. And again, that can include partnerships. One we did recently with the college on the frame grant, of which there's a developer that stated in addition to the homes that they're building, he's going to put another 15 homes in. In addition to it, that's a partnership that we're doing with an outside entity. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Okay, one more round of questioning for each of you. Catherine, you want to go first? I know you don't, but you're going to go first this time for the last round. So, Catherine, if Fort Scott faces a budget shortfall, would you favor raising taxes, reducing staff, or cutting services to balance the budget and justify your answer?
I don't feel like we're at a point as a community or even as a country where our working people can handle more taxes. But of course that means what services could we cut, and what staff would we perhaps not need at the city level. And that hurts when it's our friends and neighbors that need those jobs that are supporting us. And what do we cut service-wise? What on earth do we not need? I think we're already at a pretty bare bones area. So I guess at that point if we be looking at things, where can we be more efficient? Where can we get more grants? Where can we, is this the, just make sure, I would want to revisit everything even line by line, like is this the most cost-effective way that we can get this service or these products? And so hopefully just at the end of the day, not cutting anything, but investing more time in making sure that we have been the most prudent with our money that we have. Is this the best place to get these products? Is this the cheapest way that we can do something that's still effective? And still obviously be making those strategic repairs that keep things from falling apart down the line. Because it's not just what we spend today, it's what we're spending to prevent having a problem later. Thank you.
Julie, I'm going to have you come up next. Julie, what does accountability look like to you in public service? And how should voters measure whether you're doing a good job?
The measuring part stumps me a little bit. But I can tell you that accountability is really huge in both my personal and my work life, which that would just be mirrored straight over into this volunteer position in public service. What I do for a living, it's a fancy word or phrase, it's security analyst. I do work for a DoD, Department of Defense military contracting company, and with that comes a security clearance. And with that security clearance, I am absolutely bound to be ethical, truthful, very forthcoming. We have to report anything and everything that could potentially affect our security clearance. So with that, and with my job, when people do things wrong, they have to report it to me, and I have to report it to the government. That's a big portion of what I do. So ethics is near and dear to my heart, and I would say that probably in the last 20 years of my life, I've realized the depth of how important integrity is. And I appreciate Brad Mackin as well, as far as what he said tonight was, if anybody has any questions about anything, call me, I'll set up an appointment, I'll talk you through it. It's an open door policy. I would say I would have that same policy, because as a public servant, if you aren't transparent, then you are nothing. Because there should be nothing to hide. And if there is something to hide, then there's a problem. And the measure of the accountability, I would say it would just have to be in what things were accomplished and how my votes were cast each and every meeting, if I am elected.
Great. Thank you. I'm just going to keep going down the table, so Dylan, if you want to come up. Your final question for tonight is, Dylan, how will you handle disagreements with other elected officials or citizens while keeping the focus on results, not individual personalities?
I'm sure we've seen plenty of disagreements in the past years between current commission, prior commissions, and whether it's city or county. I think we handle them pretty good. I think disagreement is healthy. It's where you get to the conclusion. No one, if our commission is always going in there and saying, that's our action tonight, I think we have a problem myself. So I think when you see us disagree, it's government finding its way to the solution. It's not always a bad thing. Now, being accountable to citizens, this commission really doesn't have too many citizens that come in, unless you're Mr. Hoyt, they come and bother us and tell us what we're doing wrong. I wish more would, but it's hard to be accountable when you're on camera if no one's there telling us what we're doing wrong or if they have a problem. So I would encourage anyone in this room or any citizen to always come to a meeting. But I would always listen, and no citizen's ever wrong. They can disagree with my opinion, that's fine, but they'll always be heard. I don't think any commissioner's ever denied a citizen that right. So, thank you.
I agree with that. Thank you, Dylan. Okay, Tim, final question for the City Commission candidates tonight.
I hope it's not Matt.
I don't think so, no.
Okay.
So you're an incumbent, and if elected, you would be seated again. So what legacy would you like to leave whenever your term is over? What would success look like to you as an ideal city commissioner?
What success would look like to me is having things happen in a way that even the people that live here in their surroundings, they don't realize it's happening around them. We all get a lot more done together when nobody cares who gets the damn credit for it. And what we've got right now is a city staff and a city manager that is working behind the scenes with the city commission to make that happen. A lot of people don't know this. I think I'm the only commissioner that actually have a weekly meeting every Friday with the city manager. I'm not in there to micromanage him. I'm not in there to say you're doing this wrong. I'm in there to be supportive of what do we need to keep moving forward. Our turnover rate is extremely low now. To me, that's a good legacy, because before I came on board, it was almost like people were jumping out of a burning building at times. To see the improvements that are taking place in town, and no one person, including myself or any other commissioner, can take credit for it. People are wanting to get more involved now. It's a great legacy. Look at the volunteer organizations that we have in this city that step up and do things, like the Splash Pad Committee, like the Pavilion Committee, like the dances that are going on, like Care to Share. That's a great legacy. And when we first moved here in 2017, I didn't see near as much of that as what we're seeing right now. And I think great city leadership, both elected and non-elected people in key positions, make that happen. I want people to want to work for, with, and on behalf of this city for decades to come. That would be a wonderful legacy.
Great, thank you, Tim. Tim, don't go far. Thank you all for fielding questions tonight. That's the end of the questioning. Each of you has an opportunity to present a 2-minute closing statement, and I'm going to let you start first.
Good, that means I'm done first. Okay, don't start. On my table out there and on the table over here, I'll be completely honest with you, 4 years ago, this was the little flyer that I hung on almost every door in Fort Scott, Kansas. And on that flyer, I had, expectations of what I wanted to accomplish. It's a scorecard I'm using for myself. Putting the citizens of Fort Scott first, number one. Always have, always will. Develop and execute a strategic plan. Our planning is so much more improved with financial planning, roads, economic development, tourism. Item 3, remove unsafe or condemned properties. Maybe this is part of the legacy. In the last 4 years, we have removed or in process of removing 85 unsafe properties that are hazards and that are being used for illegal activity. Stronger codes enforcement. Codes team is getting a heck of a lot better. They're doing a great job. I will say, though, honesty, a lot of times what holds them back is the city commission votes that take place when they bring stuff in. So I want to improve on that. I would give that an incomplete. City employees, as I mentioned earlier, lighter turnover. Efforts of the city manager and his leadership team. Number 6, spending taxpayer money with fiscal responsibility. We are very transparent in everything that we do. And you know what? The work is getting done, and we were actually able to give, as Commissioner Olsner said, a mill rate reduction of 1.6 mil for this year. I will say, if the sales tax doesn't pass and the necessity of it, that might be a difficult chore in years going forward. Roads and infrastructure, still a priority, but we beat that to death tonight. We bought the equipment, have the people now to do our own asphalting. We're getting grants. We got a great grant for Memorial Hall, to save Memorial Hall. So all I'm saying is thank you again for your support and trust. It's been an honor to serve as City of Fort Scott Commissioner. I would appreciate your vote this election and very much believe that together we can continue to accomplish some amazing goals. Thank you.
Thank you. Back to candidate Tim Van Hookey for City Commission. Catherine? You'll come on up and give us your 2-minute closing statement.
Well, some of this might be a repeat because I made one for earlier once again. Okay. So, and let's get my phone now. All right. So, as I said, my family's been here since the 50s. I am a product of this town. I have went to school with Brad. I care so much about this community, and it has been an honor so far being on the City Commission. I really hope I continue to have that opportunity going forward. I think that there are a lot of factors pushing down on us, economically, socially, and we have a lot of challenges in front of us. And I know everyone has some topic that is the most important to them, and I hope that people would understand that we as a commission care about all of those, and we're trying to balance and make the progress and not slip back on things. I have talked with Brad about some initiatives that I think that could help our community, and I've only had one meeting with him so far because life happens. But we're not kidding. I have a lot of ideas about how to recruit people for remote work and help our current people here find those other opportunities. I think that we could change some things about our tourism and become like a night sky tourism destination. That is a free thing. There are a lot of free things we could do to promote our city in that way as well. I have been really impressed with my fellow commissioners on how they take the time to learn all the ins and outs and all of the rules and the impacts. And I just really appreciated his time, and thank you, and I hope that I have your vote. I am not the greatest public speaker, clearly, but I am good at writing things. So, thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. That's Catherine Salisbury, one of the candidates for Fort Scott City Commission. Dylan.
Two years ago, when we did this candidate forum, I stood here and gave a little speech about the reasons I was doing it. One of them was for entrepreneurs and our children in this community. Some of them are my own. At the time, I was a little naive, I think, because I went in and learned a lot about our local government. Early on, we lost 2 factories, which weighed heavy on my mind at that time, and the reality is we are working to get those filled again, and but the reality is also those are privately owned buildings, which you have to find someone who wants to buy them. Here today, 2 years later, I still have the same dreams, and we have a commission and a city staff that are actively working day in and day out, putting it on Facebook, fighting the rhetoric to show that the city is progressing to get that dream to where it should be. I would encourage citizens, regardless of any of us that you vote for up here, believe in that dream. Believe in the streets, believe in the infrastructure, believe in our children, because 10 years from now, we can leave them this city better than it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago. And that is why I want my children to grow up here. I want them to have the opportunities maybe I did 5 years ago that aren't there now. Keep believing in that dream, and if you so choose and you believe in the votes I've made in the last 2 years, support me. If not, I appreciate and I'm honored to have served, and thank you.
Thank you, Dylan. Again, that's Dylan Olson. And last but not least, Julie. Come on up and give your 2-minute closing statement.
Well, when we came back here 3 years ago, if you told me I'd be running for city government, I would have laughed in your face. Because my plan moving back home was just to sit and enjoy my family and make my little homestead and just enjoy life with my wonderful husband and not be involved in anything like this. But there have been some amazing things I've seen happen over the last 3 years. There's also been some really difficult things that just made me weep. And I don't want to sit and complain about it. I want a seat at the table. And I don't even really enjoy politics. But they're an incredibly necessary thing for the future of our town, which is for the future of our children. So if you believe that I am one of the right people that need a seat at that table, I want your vote. And if not, I gave it my best shot. But I can tell you one thing about me is, and anyone who knows me personally will tell you that I love so deeply that I am willing to move heaven and earth in order to make a change for the better. Even when it's hard, even when you gotta just dig in with your fingernails and you're just clinging for life. That's me. I'm who you want next to you in that boat when it's sinking, because I will do everything to save your life. And that is just the crux of who I am. And I want to fight for our city, and I want to fight for it for our next generation. And I'm not a politician, and I don't have all the answers, but I can promise you I will do the homework.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you to each of you. We have 5 candidates that will be on the ballot for Fort Scott City Commission. That's Julie Gupta, Tim Van Hookey, Garrett Knight, who is not here tonight, Dylan Olson, and Catherine Salisbury. What an honor it is in our community that we have this kind of quality of candidate that we get to choose from. Amen. Thank you. You may be seated. Next up tonight, we have some candidates available for the Bourbon County Commission race. In District 4, we have one candidate running for one open position, and that is Mr. Greg Motley. Greg, if you want to come on up to the podium, you can give a I'm going to ask you some questions. So let's do 1 minute opening statement.
Okay.
And then we'll do some questions.
My name is Greg Motley. My hometown is a farm community of 1,300. First in my family to go to college. Got a double degree in economics and accounting. Went on to get a master's in bank management. And then I went into banking, retired last year after 45 years in banking and business. I'm involved locally. I'm on the Freeman Fort Scott Hospital Board. I'm the grant committee chairman of the Fort Scott Area Community Foundation. And my wife and I have retired here, and we love it here, and we plan to be buried here. So,
thank you, Greg. Okay, so we get some rapid fire questions because it's just one-on-one. So
love it.
Yes. Okay, so Greg, when it comes to economic development, do you believe the county should actively recruit outside investment or focus on helping existing local businesses expand first?
Well, I was supervisor of the Shawnee Area Chamber of Commerce Economic Development Team, and we learned that 85% of economic development happens with expansion of local companies. So we want to support the expansion and growth of local companies before we think about giving incentives to outside companies. And I think we also need to think about what Tim's talked about earlier is, do we have the housing to really spend a lot of time, talent, and treasure recruiting outside companies to come in here? Where we're going to house them? So I am a really strong believer in let's support Bourbon County businesses first.
Thank you, Greg. Excellent. The next question is, what role should audits play in the elected officials' departments, and should those be internal or from an outside firm?
Well, those are mostly governed by statute, so the county has to have an external audit. And what I've found is that most of the department heads in the county are running a really excellent tight ship. And so I don't think those are of value to the taxpayer to be done on a regular basis for no apparent reason. Only if the commission discovers that there's irregularity should there be an audit, and the magnitude of it would determine if it should be internal or external.
Thank you. We're going to do 4. The 2026 budget did not adequately cover healthcare increases. How do you propose to cover those costs?
It's a darn good question. They're taking a look at healthcare alternatives right now, and they're going to have a special meeting tomorrow. So I'm anxious to see what alternatives that they came up with to combat that. Just frankly a mistake not to have budgeted for the potential increases. A lot of people work at the county because of the excellent benefits, and if we destroy those excellent benefits, that we're going to lose a lot of people. And turnover is an invisible cost. It costs a lot of money to recruit and train new people and to elevate them to the kind of services that we need. So it's a knotty problem. We have to listen to the numbers that we hear tomorrow before any solutions can be proposed.
Thank you. Greg, would you favor a county-wide effort to begin to better align city and county budgets and eliminate overlap in services?
Well, I've always been an advocate of shared services, but we have to be careful because there's differences in the county and the city, and constituents are not the same. I think we need to approach efficiency at all levels of government. We have redundancies between the city and the county, school district, Fort Scott Community College. We've got a lot of government structures in close proximity. We certainly have redundant services. but it requires trust. We're going to have to work on earning the trust of the taxpayers and the citizens of Fort Scott back at the county level before we can think about that. If we approach other governments now with sharing services, they would be justifiably wary of partnering with us. So it's going to be a process of earning trust back.
You have 2-minute closing statement.
You know, a lot of the problem in government is that the lack of continuity. A commission can embark on a direction, and then the next commission can just completely wipe it out and change the focus. And I think we've suffered from that. So one of my main goals is going to be strategic planning at the county level. We have no strategic plan. Just one evidence of that is that the sheriff is facing the replacement of 6 to 8 vehicles now that are just ending their useful life, and we haven't planned for the replacement of those vehicles. We have to plan for those things. Those things are not surprises. Vehicles get miles on them and equipment get hours on them, and we know that's going to happen, and we're not planning to replace those things. Planning needs to happen. The second thing is efficiency. We have to, because of our declining population and fewer people paying more in taxes, we have to look for efficiencies. We're running at a bare minimum of services, so there's not a whole lot of services that we can cut. So we have to look for efficiencies, doing things better, smarter, and that part of that goes back to the strategic planning. And the last thing is process. Government and private industry and all of our structures run on trust, and our processes have been short-sighted. Our processes have destroyed trust, internally, externally, and so that's going to be another focus of mine, is to work on ways to improve processes at the commission level and restore trust. So.
Excellent. Thank you, Greg. That is Greg Motley, running for District 4, candidate of County Commissioner. Our final discussion tonight is going to be from District 5, and we have 2 candidates we have 1 candidate and 1 write-in for District 5. Micah Milburn Key is not able to be here tonight, but I understand she has a person that will be making a statement on her behalf. Tracy Dancer.
Good evening, and thank you for being here. I have a statement from Bourbon County Commissioner Micah Milburn Key, running for the new District 5. She is sorry she can't be with you tonight due to illness, but she appreciates the chance to share this message with you. As a conservative, Micah believes government should live within its means and focus on its essential responsibilities. That's why she has consistently supported keeping our ad valorem taxes in check, while still delivering the core services our citizens rely on. Micah has championed initiatives that support the cleanup of neglected properties, not just to improve our communities, but to create opportunity. These efforts open the door to infill development and help grow our tax base over time. These aren't just ideas, they're actions Micah has already taken. She believes in supporting the city of Fort Scott however we can, especially when it comes to attracting new industry to the industrial park. If re-elected, she is committed to standing firm on the things that truly make a difference for our county's future. Serving as your county commissioner has been both challenging and rewarding. This job requires more than opinions. It demands stamina, accountability, and the willingness to ask hard questions, even when the answers are uncomfortable. Micah has made it a priority to listen with respect, speak with clarity, and act with integrity, always with the best interest of Bourbon County at heart. As we move forward, we need strong leadership. Bourbon County is facing decisions that will shape the next decade, not just the next budget. and we cannot tax our way into prosperity. Micah has held the line on taxation and focused on delivering core services with the resources we have. That won't change. Our budget has been tight, but Micah is clear in her assessment. Bourbon County has a revenue problem. That's why she has tightened the belt even further and supported smart, cost-effective solutions like outsourcing certain county services. These decisions have saved money, raised our operating standards, and brought us to a level we should have reached years ago. The record shows the choices Micah has supported have saved taxpayer dollars and improved service standards. She doesn't make decisions based on politics. She makes them based on what's best for Bourbon County. Micah has worked to make the county commission more transparent, more accountable, and more engaged with the public. And when she's had to stand firm, she has done so, not for pride, but for principle. This isn't about politics, it's about stewardship. Micah doesn't claim to have all the answers, but she promises to keep asking the right questions, keep listening to your concerns, and keep showing up for Bourbon County. She may not come to this job with every answer, but she comes with commitment, accountability, and a clear belief. This office belongs to the people, and it works best when you stay involved. If you believe in fiscal responsibility, local industry, and a commission that answers to you, Micah would be honored to have your vote. Citizens of Bourbon County, thank you.
Thank you, Tracy Dancer. Reading a statement for Micah Milburn Key. We have a write-in candidate for this District 5 as well, and that's Mr. Joe Smith. Mr. Smith, if you want to make your way to the podium, you have 1 minute to give your opening statement.
My name is Joe Smith. I'm a write-in candidate for County Commissioner District 5. I'm running because I think the commission needs more of the financial and technical expertise that I can provide. I have degrees in chemistry, engineering, and accounting. My experience includes project design and specification, procuring equipment, and managing multi-million-dollar contracts. I've also worked as a city engineer. When requested, I have audited government entity and nonprofit organizations' financial records. I was a member of the Bourbon County Budget Advisory Committee and have a good understanding of the county's financial situation. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Joe, I have a few questions for you. If state or federal funds were cut, what county programs or services would you consider non-essential, and which would you fight hardest to protect?
If state and federal funds were cut. Well, the county has a responsibility to provide not only the sheriff's office, but the EMS office and public works. Those three things cannot be cut by the county, not by Kansas statute. So the only other thing you're left with is the organizations that are essentially non-government organizations, those things that the county supports, like the board, the fair board, like the basically you've got support for the soil conservation district, you've got support for other organizations that have typically been supported by the county. And those are the only places you could cut.
Okay. Joe, do you believe our current property tax rate is fair compared to the level of city services citizens receive?
Fair compared to the level of services that they receive. Yes, it is. The county mill levy was lowered this term for the budget for next year. And they're going to receive the same services. What can I say? The county still provides the roads and bridges. The county still provides weed control.
Thank you. Some residents fear planning and zoning, and that it leads to more government control. How would you balance property rights with responsible development?
Personally, I believe, like every other person in this county, that a man should be able to do what he wants to on his own land. On his own land. There does need to be some regulation to prevent things that are health hazards or that prevent accidents and things like that. But as far as community planning goes, there also needs to be a plan for the development of the county. And so the planning commission that's been established is tasked with providing a 5-year plan for the development of Bourbon County. The zoning part of that commission is not going to be active until the commission itself establishes what they're going to do. Once they develop a plan, then they can start the zone, and it will happen.
Okay, thank you, Joe. Last question. You said in your opening statement that you have a rather seasoned resume of knowing the numbers.
I do.
So, what are your thoughts on the 2026 budget?
What are my thoughts on the 2026 budget? I participated in the budget committee, and the budget committee did produce a viable budget. Now, it was also higher in mill levy than the one that's been passed by the commission. The reason we set our mill levy that high was to provide more in the way of cash reserves. If you watch the last commission meeting, you saw that the Public Works Department came in and asked for $300,000 to buy a new machine. They asked for $93,000 the meeting before for a new trailer. Those things are necessary because, like the sheriff's department, Public Works has equipment that is wearing out. It's just flat exceeded its time on this earth. The sheriff's cars are 17, 18 years old. The equipment in Public Works has exceeded its 15-year life. Things like that have to be paid for. Somehow you've got to come up with money for them, and if you don't maintain a cash reserve, you're not going to have it.
Thank you, Joe. That's all the questions I have for you. You have an opportunity to present a 2-minute closing statement.
In closing, I would like to say that as a retired professional, I have ample time to devote to the work of the commissioner. I am fully aware that the commissioners have no authority outside of the commission room, and I do not intend to directly interfere with the operation of county employees and department heads. I believe that the elected officials are all equal in stature, duty, and purpose. The commissioners should allow the appointed department heads to do their job and manage their own departments without maintaining micromanagement by anyone. Commissioners oversee the valuable elected, appointed, and/or employed workers of the county. We should honor the elected officials and hire county employees, allowing them to do their jobs, and I believe they are capable of doing it. We should supply the resources that they need to succeed. I believe providing advice and direction would be better than inserting myself into the day-to-day operation of the department. Having said all this, I'll give you a quote from Ben Franklin. Well done is better than well said. I believe in the need for respectful, responsible, and resourceful commissioners is apparent. The citizens of Bourbon County expect no less from their county commissioners, and I'm asking for your vote in November. Remember to write in Joe Smith, District 5 County Commissioner. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe Smith. Thank you for being here. So that concludes our forum portion of tonight, and I'll just take a brief minute to just tell you that I know I'm biased, but I absolutely love this community. I've been from this community since birth, and I love all the people here. I love every business here. I love that people come out to this and want to know more about the people that are willing to serve you with respect to the elections. I encourage you to come out and vote on November 5th? 4th. November 4th. Please vote on November 4th so that your voice can be heard. Thank you. Or advanced voting is open now. And thank you very much for being here, and thank you for being a part of our outstanding community. Have a great night.